So we got pretty big pretty quickly in
Yeah.
that sense, right? And just managing a team. This was undoubtedly the biggest learning curve that I went through as an operator was in 2016. We had about 20 employees working at PeerFit. And by the time COVID, hit in March 2020, we had 150 employees.
Wow, that's huge.
And and forget about the number of clients that you're managing, just growing at that pace where we were almost doubling every single year. I was a young CEO. I certainly certainly made a lot of mistakes during that time, and have learned from them and help. That's probably one of the things I enjoy coaching, first time or younger, founders, owner operators about. It's just that period. Like it always seems to be sometime when you grow from about 20 to 40, 20 to 50, everything changes. And I've heard it.
What was the biggest mistake you made growing from 20 to 40 employees? And I'd love to hear something very specific, like something that in retrospect you kind of laugh about now, but something very specific that you messed up going from 20 to 40. Because I agree with you, 20 to 40 is lots of, there's lots of documented evidence that says getting to 10 million in revenue, which oftentimes sort of is around that
Yeah.
20 to 50 employee, is a huge, huge challenge. It goes beyond just the founder and some helpers that you've got to create structure and layers of management and so forth. Just tell me like a mistake you made that you look back on now and think, wow, that was a real blunder.
Yeah, I think the problem was you had this original group of people. So, my personality, I love to be in the trenches with people. I love to lead from the front, which has its own positive, but definitely has its own negatives too, right? So, by my presence doing that, I inadvertently was I think, motivating that original group of people to say, we want things done the same way we've always done it. We're the original people. We're the OGs. And look, I can go to Ed whenever I want to. I have direct access to Ed whenever I want to. And it undermined, once you get to about 20, you start to bring in subject matter experts. You start to bring in more expertise and people who aren't here to work at some startup who just kind of shoots from the hip. They are there to institute bureaucracy for good or bad, right? And I allowed the bureaucracy to constantly be undermined by allowing people to just come to me and me being down with them and having direct access. It's like that's something when you're like, well, why would you want bureaucracy and why shouldn't anyone be able to come to you? Well, because you had the old group of people who were unwilling to let the company evolve to what it needed to become, right?
It's yeah, and it's so natural too because you don't want to come off like a prick. Like these are the people that got you to where you are. These are the
Yeah.
first 20. And oh wow, well Ed's all of a sudden Mr. Highfalutin because he won't even talk to his own VP. I have to talk to like you get that sort of criticism from the original 20, like, oh, like Ed's all full of himself now. But if you don't do as you describe, which is let the decision makers and the managers you've hired do the job, if you provide access, you're basically undermining what you're building. I think it's such a really common thing that people deal with all the time.
Yeah, it was really hard for me because I love to, like I said, to be kind of in the thick of things. But
Yeah.
by doing so, I was actually, my compassion was strangulating both efforts, right? That original people who have kind of knowledge of your product and culture, but I was strangling what the company was trying to become at the same time.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video. If you love today's video, then I bet you're going to absolutely love John Warrillow's best-selling book, Built to Sell. It's been endorsed by entrepreneurs such as Seth Godin, Bo Burlingham, Patrick Bet-David, Tim Ferriss, and many more. And guess what? You can grab a free copy of this book. All you have to do is head over to builttosell.com to grab your free copy today.